Swastiastu. Thank you for the chance that given to us. So in here, we would like to present about The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. So we are from group 5, and the member of the group is me. My name is Niputo Inaloviani, and my partner is Gusti Ayu Kada Widyari Sukmarayu. All right, basically in this presentation, we would like to deliver 8 major points of contents. The first one is introductions. The second one is summary of the story, plot of the story, characters, setting of the story, theme of the story, perspective of the story, and the moral value of the story. And I will deliver half of that, while the rest will be delivered by my partner. All right, we're going to talk about the introduction at first. Well, this story is a telltale heart, and it is created by Edgar Allan Poe, which is appealing as the first confession remains as tense and shocking, and published in 1843. Well, as we know, at the first time when we read this story, we will see the protagonist, which is seeing that the protagonist is have one eye, which is frightened by the narrator. So that in here, we would like to tell to you how the irrational fear of the narrator and how the narrator would like to remind the reader that he is not insane, but actually he is insane at all. All right, so we would like to tell you here the summary of the story of The Telltale Heart. The first one is starting by the narrator itself, which is trying to prove his sanity, in which he's trying to know whether he is insane or not, and trying to figure out what is happening inside of himself. So there's the conflict inside of himself actually at that time. And move to the next one, 2 weeks before the accident. So in here, the narrators already have a mind of the old man's pale blue vulture eyes. So that in that situations, this man is already think that want to kill the old man, have already the plan itself. So in here, the sentences which is we need to see is, do you think I am mad? A madman cannot plan, but you should have seen me. During all of that week, I was as friendly but to the old man as I could be. So here he kept trying to pretending to be okay, to not to insane, and also a kind man which is friendly to the old man, but in his mind he has mind to kill the old man because of the vulture eyes. And after day by day, every night, the old man, when the old man sleep, when the old man sleep, the narrator tried to seeking into the room and seeing whether the vulture eyes is open or not. So that in a during the 7 day, so every night, every midnight in the 7 days, the narrators keep seeking and seeing the old man itself into the room, so that they try to kill, but the filter is not open yet. And the 8 days on the next in the 8 days, the old man heard a sound of the narrator itself when seeking into the room. So when there's a little light and the old man opened his eyes in here, so the narrator suddenly killed the old man itself using the bat, and of course the old man is died at the time. So in his mind of the narrator, the eye would not be a problem to him, because in here the narrator was afraid to the vulture eyes of the old man. And then because the neighbor hear the sounds of the old man itself scream aloud, so that the neighbor called the police. So there came 3 policemen at a time to come to check the house whether something happened or not. And then at that time, the narrator like welcoming the policeman and also giving a bit tour to the house, and asked the policeman to come to the room and ask and have a chit chat, and ask the policeman to sit up to the old man body, which is already cut down into several pieces under the floor. So the narrator hide the bodies of the old man bottom, under the floor of that. And after that, well, they have the chit chat, the policeman, and also the narrator itself have the chit chat. The narrator started to hear the sounds, and well, keep thinking. The voice is getting louder and louder, and the narrator know that realizing that they're the sound of the old man's heartbeat. So that he thought that that's the sounds of the man's heartbeat, but actually the old man is already died at the time, and she's going crazier, and then suddenly at the last of the story, the narrator finally saying the truth. Yes, I killed him. Pull up the boards and you shall see. I killed him. But why does his eyes not stop beating? Why does it not stop? So in here we know how the narrator what is happening in the head of the narrator while those events is happening in the story itself. And that's the end of the story of the Telltale Heart. All right, now we would like to know what is the plot of the story actually. So, well, it started in the expositions where the narrator introduced the story by talking about how he killed the old man and his future eyes. So, by saying that, why will you say that I'm mad? The disease had sharpened my sense. I heard many things in hell and observe how heartily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. So that by saying that he's insane at that time, he's actually normal, but actually in his mind is having a plan of murdering someone. And next, we have the rising actions. When for the seventh night, the narrator goes to the old man's room but cannot kill him because the eyes is closed. Well, we're going to know what is the conflict of this story actually. So the conflict is occur when the eight nights when the old man wakes up and the narrator sees the eyes and he hears the heart of the old man itself. And the climax or the turning point is when the narrator kills the old man by using the bed and cut the old man bodies into pieces. And next, going to falling actions. When the policemen arrive in the house and the narrator let them explore around the house, including the old man's room, and have a chit chat around there. And next to the resolutions of the story is when the narrator confesses to the policeman that he was the one who killed the old man. So, like, Villains decimal, no more, I admit the dead. Tear up the planks. Here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. So in here, the narrator confesses to the policeman that he is the murderer of the old man himself. So that is the plot from the exposition, rising action, conflict, climax, filing actions, and resolutions. And that is a very interesting story because like have a shocking and also have the resolutions, and we don't know that the resolutions he wants to confess that when he kills the old man itself. All right, move to my partner Sukma Rahayu. Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody. Now I will continue Nia's presentation with the characters in the Telltale Heart. Nia, please move the slide. Okay, so here in the Telltale Heart story, there are 4 characters. The first one is the main characters, which is an old man with one sightless pale blue eyes. And then the narrator and the neighborhood as the minor characters, the 3 policemen as the minor character also. Next slide. Okay, characterization. Here, the characterization from the unnamed narrator is a man who is physically and mentally ill by seeing something unreal and half unreal things and thought it was real. It can be seen through the link, madman know nothing. He is the murderer or the old man, and he is psycho because he cannot hold his emotion. Okay. Next, the characterization from the old man. Here, the old man explained as someone who kind because in the story, the neighbor is really care with him by calling the police when they hear something, when they hear the old man scream aloud at the midnight, and he feels also suspicious with the kindness of the narrator. Next slide, please. Okay. For the setting of the Telltale Heart story is the first one, time. We don't know exactly when the action take place in historical context, but we can estimate the time frame to be over the course of a week, with most event happening around midnight. And for the place, the location is the home of elder man in which the narrator has become a caretaker. Okay. Next, for the theme, here the tail hearts has theme as the duality of man, light versus dark, good versus evil. Every man has to find a way to balance this out in hopes that the likes or good will be the predominant side in his life. The theme in the Telltale Heart is guilt, and because the narrator's trying to convince the reader that the main characters feel guilty for killing the old man. Genre, horror or gothic fiction. Next, perspective of the story, the Telltale Heart. Number one, the telltale heart is the murderer who is telling the story in the first person perspective. We know when we read this story, the narrator explain or tell the story by using I or my, which is called as first person perspective. Number two is the reader is not sure where is the narrator located or address. Yeah, the located or the address is unknown because the narrator only explain if the action or the tragedy happened in the old man's home. Next, please. Okay, the moral value of the story, okay, or in the telltale heart, we can learn if we cannot commit crimes because in the end our own self will expose it. We know that at the beginning of the story, the narrator or the actually is the murderer of the old man trying to cover it if he is the murderer, but at the end she exposed it by himself. From that we learn if when we're doing something bad, we cannot covering forever because one day it will show up by itself. One day the truth will show up by itself. Okay, that's all that I can saying in this presentation. Thank you.
All right, so that's all our presentation for today about the Telltale Heart. Hope this will help you to figure out how the summary and also how we will analyze this kind of story of the Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. Thank you so much for your attentions. If there are any mistake, we do apologize. Om Santi, Santi, Santi.